Hello to all. Thank you for your presence in this last keynote of 𝗖𝗍𝗂𝘁𝗍𝗿 2022. We are now short in time to close our conference, which will be ending, I don't like to say ending, we'll close within 1 hour and such things, 1 hour 30. We'll have with us Professor 𝗜𝗱𝘁𝗂𝗿𝗏, apologies, which is a distinguished professor and integrated member and researcher in the 𝗬𝗏𝗍𝗂𝗍 Applied Artificial Intelligence Laboratory in the School of Technology of the Polytechnic Institute of 𝗬𝗃𝗄𝗏. We say it in Portuguese, 𝗬𝗏𝗍𝗂𝗏, which is Laboratory of Artificial Intelligence. He received his PhD in Industrial and Systems Engineering from the University of Minho, which is one of the top Portuguese universities, back in 2013. He's a member of the scientific commission that oversees the master degree in computer science engineering. Also a distinguished professor in computer sciences, integrated systems and architecture domains in IPCA, which is a short name for Instituto Politécnico do Cabo-de-Ave, Polytechnic Institute of Cabo-de-Ave. So trying to do a liaison here between the Portuguese and the English. Professor Luís is also a distinguished researcher in this laboratory, where his interest remains on architecture, integration of information systems and services, data sciences, artificial intelligence, and it's area where he's been conducting for several years now, founded Portuguese governmental and scientific FCT-funded research, which in my country is a privilege only for the best. So without further delay, I want to provide my special thanks to Professor Luís for being 𝗖𝗍𝗂𝗍𝗏. It's an honor for me and for the other guests, and for whom is now watching us on remote, to have some part of your knowledge shared with us. So, Professor, hello, thank you. I'm going to pass you the word. You know, you are at your own home.
Thank you, Nuno. Are you listening to me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So, sorry, first of all, to not be there presently with you. I'm not far away from there. I'm more or less 50 kilometers from there. I'm at Barcelos, at IPCA. And my sincere thanks to invite me.
Recording in progress.
Let me just share my screen view. So, are you seeing my screen?
Yeah, yes, okay.
Okay, so it is a very, very great pleasure that I'm here with you. I'm thinking about this conference and the pertinence and the relevance of this conference, mainly the topic of this conference. We are talking about industry science and computer science in the context where everybody or every companies around the world are requiring immediately for very good, the best programmers, the best engineering, the best data analysts, and so on. So this is our context. So I decided to share with you some thoughts, some pointers to you, some perspectives. Of course, with some subjectivity too, but the idea is to allow you to stop a little bit and to think and to reflect. So the idea of this presentation is exactly that, a reflection and share with you some, I believe, relevant things. So the idea is we are now fitting things that look learning. So the idea is we accept the big domain ICTs, so we need to prepare our things to learn. So what is going on around all these topics? So I will organize this speech around these 4 topics. And in the course of this conference, I heard yesterday Alan Hickner adverted us that society, science, and technologies evolve. That's correct. I believe so. He said too that human values matter. Perfect. So I believe it remains a question. I would like to share with you this question, not to ask, just to, just to let you understand, let you think about it. So, do problems also evolve? I believe it is an interesting question. So, continue this. If we stop and think a little bit, something curious happened. So, if we think about yesterday or today or tomorrow, the time is something very, very, very changing. The value of the time is something very difficult to define. So, for me, it's funny this. I think we can start from several things that is not from my point of view, from your point of view, but from other people that appeared a long time ago. So it's the opportunity appear on the basis of previous knowledge. But we must enforce that the knowledge, the previous knowledge, is not important only if it is right. If it is wrong, I believe it is also important, even in some occasions more important too. So it's not my thought, it was the thought of some guy a long time ago. So the other finding I would like to share with you is that we are not alone on this. If we think we are the owner of the thoughts, the owner of ideas, I prefer to know this. The things I know, the things I will learn, comes from a lot of people that are working on that or did already work on that. So all I'm learning, for me, is something that must never be forgotten. So, third finding, as humans, maybe all of us, maybe the ones that are in technology areas, we love new words, new terms, most of the time for the same things, for very, very ancient things. So I could put here a lot of different perspectives of terms, words, buzzwords. I share with you some of them, of course, but I could put here a lot of more. So even in these cloud words, if we look carefully to all of them, there are lots of common words. Even we are thinking in a particular domain. So maybe we are talking about a kind of ecosystems where different things must be integrated in a kind of symbiosis, so a kind of ecosystem. But if you are talking about ICT industries, so it is not difficult to understand this point of view. So we are trying to fit smart things, environments, smart technology, smart enterprise, and so on, and we need to integrate their systems or existing systems between those smart. Another interesting point of view, this perspective comes on 2015, so more or less 7 years ago. Someone told that if we have digital dexterity, we have some advance from others. And considering this, we can still reinforce perspective. So there could be some competitive advantage, of course. And we are completely, let's say, conscious that there is a rapid change in technology. But it's not related to 2050. This could be exactly understood in the context of nowadays. we saw, for instance, with the pandemic situation, that the way the people, companies, everyone use the existing technology and change the way that they work, they interact. It was not a rocket innovation. It was a way to understand different ways to use the same to get more, to get our needs solved. Interesting. So, usually, all of us, when to decide, us or companies, of course, decide to make something, there is three main, I would say, areas, topics, steps that we need to confront. The magnitude of the action, the risk, and the time. For instance, we need to decide the scope of the action I will decide to do, the scope, the frequency. We need also to care carefully the risk about security, about accuracy, liability, etc. And of course, the time. Should I do this later? Should I do this timely? In what latency? So this kind of things appears in all those actions we decide to prepare to do. So if you look at or if you can call these kind of strategic technology trends, considering a lot of, 20 years from now to past, there's a lot of words, a lot of things that we love or we want to achieve. Things like user experience, things like advancement, like autonomous, like adaptive, like intelligent. Of course, these things are all very, very critical, very, very relevant. And it goes all the time, same way. So, we can imagine, for instance, if it is possible or not to redefine our assembly line in our industries. Can we put there 3D printing? Can we put there blockchain? Or can we imagine, for instance, to have things or agents that someone said they are autonomous and free people for work that only people can do? Could be a perspective, could be a scenario, and you need to think about that. So, I'm sure you know this kind of representation from Gartner, very, very common. I usually analyze these all the years. This one comes from 2015, and the idea is to compare this one with the one of last year. So, just a quick explanation. This kind of representation try to communicate the way the things, I say, how the things evolve during the period. So in the beginning, the things are not well known. There is a peak where the things are more explored, more known, a great expectation for the things that can do, and a lot of things disappear completely, or if the things look great, they stay with us for a long period. So this plateau of productivity means that the technology will stay with us. So in 2050, of course this is not clear in the image, but 7 years ago, we didn't have here nothing related with, for instance, artificial intelligence. But if you take a look of nowadays perspective, so take the main technological trends, if you look carefully at this new perspective, there are a lot of artificial intelligence perspectives. So, of course, you must be completely, conscious that artificial intelligence is there, but also I need to share with you that artificial intelligence is not everything so new. Artificial intelligence appears at, I don't know, 50 years ago, for instance. The difference is now, in our time, we have sufficient conditions to test, to apply the initial ideas about artificial intelligence. Now we have, let's say, computation performance, computation capacity to make this very, very heavy algorithms to work and to make some results. At that time, we could only simulate those algorithms. That's why nowadays, artificial intelligence is in every day, in everywhere, in every activity. It is a very, very interesting word, a very, very, very interesting buzzword, maybe a very common fashion term too. Okay, considering some of those most relevant technologies in that chart there, one of them was Internet of Things. I believe all of us already know what is IoT, Internet of Things, but very important now is to think not only in IoT, but mainly in IoTs, which means the kind of services that you can implement on top of IoT. IoT is a very simple concept. Difficult is to create new services on top of IoT. And I will see later why this is so difficult. Because, of course, we can say that we can implement a lot of things. We have a lot of greenhouse completely coordinated and manipulated remotely. We have our houses completely coordinate those things. But there are a lot of problems that arise with IoT. For instance, we are talking about security, integrity, interoperability, those things. Okay. We can imagine, considering this topic of IoT of S, we can imagine that we have now capacity to accept a kind of ubiquitous computing, a kind of virtuality. Okay, we can accept this, but we must not forget, or we must believe that these things are not only based on technology. The human experience continue there. So the other big buzzword, big concept, of course, very, very important concept, is big data. Just to share with you some amazing facts about big data. If we read this and analyze carefully this, we make completely crazy. This is something amazing. So, but of course, some facts. But the idea with big data, the most relevant part about big data, is what is going to change since we use big data in our process, in our enterprises, in our science. So the idea is now with big data, we can, this is very, very relevant for me, we can forward looking. We can now, in the present, try to get some idea about the future. This is something strange. So the idea is we can work on optimization. Because now we can have a lot of different data. Big data is not only amount of data, but also different kind of data, different kind of heterogeneous data. Okay? So we can now cross all these things as never before. So I believe we can say in this period we can have effective decision making, maybe more than ever. And we are working maybe or preparing a path to a learning factory. Of course, this is only concept, but we are working on this. So the industries, the companies, the science too, can can have this kind of value creation. If you think about the enterprise, if we think it will be possible to have a digital factory where cyber-physical systems, where machine talk to products, where the process can be correct, those things, yes, to be great. For this, I accept this scenario. We are very, very, I say, well prepared for this. We have computational competence to work on this. But if you look in the basis of what companies should or must change, must be prepared for in the next future, is exactly for me the idea to be able to produce something customized for anyone. So the mass production before will be changed for individual producers. So if we think about this, so maybe we are preparing a path for smart manufacturing, another big word, and different of equivalent or related other words. Of course, if we have this, and if we want to this to be, I say, useful or applicable, of course we need to change our business model, for sure, because the actual business model of our companies, the main companies, is not prepared for this. The idea to have a single supplier or the same client, this kind of business models are completely changing. So we need to be aware of that. We need to prepare our companies. The big war that is happening there. So we have to offer not only a product, but a product and service integrated. This is a signal very, very important in war. So if we can now, I say, considering all these new things that come from this short analysis, I think all of us can easily accept that should appear a lot of new challenges, technical challenges, energy challenges. We always hear someone talk about green energy. So we are each time more dealing with information than data, which is different. It's more worried about what is the human perspective, the human action, the human elements in all of the different new perspectives. Should we have appropriate responses in a scenario with a lot of uncertainty? So I believe this kind of challenges is easily understood for all of us. And of course, we accept too that there should have a lot of value creation coming from that kind of new challenges. I give emphasis to this value creation because for me, we should get new value creation, of course, reduce, improve sustainability, right information, safety. These things are very relevant. They will appear, they need to appear, but we still continue to have not value creation, but I say critical thought, critical position that we need to still continue to care. That's security, vigilance, resilience. So since we have a new capacity, since we explore new opportunity, in my point of view, to create a new opportunity for the other side of the equation. So okay, it's very easy to understand all these things in very practical things. So you can develop any kind of application for web, mobile, cloud computing, using big data, IoT, and those things. We already explore a lot of nanotechnology to produce new kind of materials, new kind of nanosensors. We have high quality systems. We explore a lot additive manufacturing with 3D printing and those things. We can predicting, of course, with some intelligence, if possible. We are applying a lot of artificial intelligence in those things. We have a lot of very nice experiments, demos, and practical cases where augmented reality, virtual reality, or mixed reality are fully explored. Yes, we have all of this. But again, and I usually reinforce this kind of things, I believe this is something that we already have with different time, different meanings, different concepts. So we still have a very, very challenges, very, very difficulties in kind of integration, not only information technology, but also equipment. We also have very, very difficulties to work with real time. So critical situations in medicines, I don't know, more decisions. So the real time decision is something very, very critical. Are we prepared to have machines completely decided by ourselves? Do you know what was the cause of that terrible accident? The airplane from France that left Brazil, I believe, 2009. A terrible accident. The airplane completely destroyed in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. I don't know if you are conscious about that, but there are some point of view that say that the cause of that problem will be related for a bad decision of the operation. So we also have a lot of problems considering security management, security innovation management. It's very nice to understand and to believe and to design learning organizations, learning factories. This is not so new. So I know finally to share with you. I believe we are trying to achieve certainty in an uncertain world. So thinking about this, I have 2 points of view related to my experience too. So usually we have 2 different things. The ones which are tangible, which means we can formalize it. Of course, we can try to create algorithms, try to deal with it, and perhaps we can go through artificial intelligence. Maybe we are working on this a lot. But there are the opposite sides. We have no tangible things. So the things that are by ourselves, the things that are present in as human beings, and there are some kind of philosophical interpretation, is pragmatics, that try to deal with that kind of things. So if we accept this, we are a little bit far away from that scenario that some of us would like to talk about, which is the robot and the human being dominated by robots. So that kind of scenario, if you accept this kind of perspective, in my opinion, we are far away from that scenario. However, if we are prepared in a moment, try to get some kind of formalization of those tangible things. So this is interesting, of course. So we are not talking about artificial intelligence. We are talking something much more than artificial intelligence. And of course, we are preparing the path for the technological singularity. So this is my last opinion, perspective, point of view to share with you, and I would like to discuss with you. Of course, we can, because there are a lot of subjectivity on this perspective, we can discord or not. But I would like to share with you, I would like to have your opinion about this point of view. So, this is it. Thank you very much for your presentation, and completely with you for any kind of discussion.
Thank you, Professor. We were having some difficulties hearing in some points, but I believe it was due to microphone. But nonetheless, the message was captured, and I do appreciate the effort to bring us some knowledge on your research on the past years that is indeed very aligned what the motto is from 𝗖𝗍𝗂𝘁𝗃𝗀𝗁𝗍. So in my personal name and in behalf of the organization, I do compliment you for your presence at 𝗖𝗍𝗂𝘁𝗃𝗀𝗁 and your noticeable keynote. Thank you, Professor. I'm going to activate the mute now. We are about to end our sessions. Just allow me to do some lesson learned and some closing aspects. If I manage around Windows, which is not easy for me, should be. There it is. Share my screen with you. Okay. No. Here. Okay, sharing now. I believe that everybody can see this in home. Yeah, okay, no, wrong window. So, actually, correct window. Okay, we are closing now 𝗖𝗍𝗂𝗍𝗃. Before I ask all of you that are present, and still some of our colleagues are in the presentation room and are not listening to us, so they will they need to get this memo afterwards to head to the farewell cocktail. But I prepared a small, let's say, I don't like to use the sentence or the term lesson learned, because there's no lessons to be learned. Everybody here is, some of us at least, are on the same level. But there are some aspects that need to be grasped regarding this conference, and moreover, the people that was present here. We have, so far, hopefully, no one withdrawn the research, 152 research papers, nearly 300 online attendance, this meaning that, of course, mainly the authors and the peers that were watching and observing their presentations, 25 presential face-to-face guests and authors from 14 different countries. I was surprised also. From 5 continents, with 7 moderators, 3 keynotes, 9 sponsors, and you saw the youngsters upstairs, the 6 staff members. So I would like to extend a thank you notice to our authors, the ones that made the effort to be here presently and attend face-to-face. I know some of you came to see Porto, which is a wonderful city. Nonetheless, you decided to do it physically, not virtually, and in my personal view, that alone was a success to have you with us in all the present moments and all the networking element moments that we have, and the coffee breaks and the dinner, and Professor Arthur's yesterday fantastic roadshow trip to seaside of Porto, to Ribeira. And some of our colleagues are already on their way home. Others are online, of course. Many of our colleagues attended online, are seeing us via Zoom and following us on social media from 𝗜𝗍𝗲 and 𝗖cie, via YouTube, via LinkedIn, and via Facebook. So this is a live session streaming there now. Professor Evner's keynote had about 600 peers watching it, so that, in my opinion, was a huge success. Most likely, Professor Luis will reach the same number of attendees. And, of course, also a word of gratitude for our keynote speakers, Professor Evner and Professor Luís Ferreira, for allowing and so they share with us the knowledge. So in my opinion, was some important steps that we gave, and for allowing us to record the sessions to be placed within our online system to our academia, so our students can check on it and consult it as they need. To our moderators, Professor Miguel Oliveira, which is the director of the Business School of 𝗜𝗍𝗂𝗍𝗂, to Professor Jorge Duque, the chair of our data science workshop, to Professor Susan Graf, which is not present but was a team help, gathering the team that we have now hosting our event, Professor Luís Ferreira, that also attended one of our sessions, Firmino Oliveira, our director of the 𝗜𝗍𝗂𝗍𝗂 Research Center, Professor Artur Santos, which is here in the room with us, the Tourism and Communication Workshop Chair, to Marcos Lamas, also extreme moderator, and not also present, he left a few moments ago, Professor Carlos Arbareu from Politécnico Viana do Castelo, that also attended to our conference and was moderator. To our staff team that is on the first level of 𝗜𝗍𝗲 upstairs, to Rafael Carvalho, Joana Almeida, Joana Oliveira, Larissa, Janete, Francisco, Kátia, and Rodrigo, all of them, our students from our staff, which are our associate degrees under the undergrad. Two of them our current students in our Bachelor of Science in Tourism Management, and in my opinion were a very extreme support. For them, they had a chance to see, so they study this area, they study management of tourism and communication and digital technology, so have had the opportunity to see firsthand and first sight what is to host an event and provide support to guests in different nationalities, with different customs, different types of agendas and constraints on food. So that alone was a success in my opinion. To the institution, this means that this computer doesn't have the fonts that my computer has, so that's why you are seeing that strange font over there. So I'll be reading it nonetheless. To Professor António Godinho, which is the president of the ISLA Institute, for the opening doors of the institution to 𝗖cie𝗺𝗀𝗍𝗍, providing the resources, supporting us all the way, and allowing us to use very needed rooms and very needed areas of the institution, 4 rooms, another auditorium for 3 entire days, and putting the staff, which are the supporting staff of 𝗜𝗍𝗲, people that you see in the front, and in the multimedia and ICT department to allow and enable all the multimedia devices and tools that you see above us and in front of us working. And to our sponsors, to Palo Alto, Holiday Inn, the Town Hall of Gaia, MDPI, Elsevier Procedure, Lusófona Group, and André Costa, the web designer, to all of them, my warm appreciate and gratitude vows. So, this is it from our side. Just close this. To the present here, again, thank you for traveling to Porto. Thank you for being 𝗖𝗁𝗂𝘀𝗁𝗂 2022, Industry Science and Computer Science Innovation Conference. So, at the lobby of the hotel, we have our farewell cocktail. So, I think we can all relax now, head there, have a snack, have a drink, and I'll see you again next year on the 2023 edition. Hopefully, the 152 guests and speakers and authors that we have online, probably they will be in person, face-to-face, at least I hope so. And once again, thank you for attending 𝗖𝗁𝗂𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃. All the best for you from this side of Porto and Portugal. Thank you and bye-bye. Vamos lá, meus amigos, vamos lá, obrigado.